Welcome back. We're still talking the digital divide, the Internet of Things, and how secure and how much of it Nigeria has been able to get into. So, Adesanya, the question I was going to ask you is, now, Internet of Things, like he explained and you explained, is just the connectivity of everything in your home and indeed around you. I mean, these days you have devices that you can just sit down and say, hey, whatever name you want to call it, I'm trying not to go commercial here. So whatever name you want to call it, say, give me this. And that device will order it online, probably because they have your preferences and all. This just tells you that our life, everything about you is out there. I have a friend who, and I'm sure that some friends, male and female, who are always on Instagram or on Twitter. Everything they do is they're out there. So their lives are on social media. How secure are we in all of this with the Internet of Things?
So let me connect that question to something my colleague said earlier, saying we're not catching up yet as a people. You know, there's something I always believe in. If you don't catch up with technology, if you don't catch up with the reality, you will have to deal with the consequences afterwards. You know, so there are two things. You either deal with the reality and catch up in time, or you deal with the consequences. Over time, humans, it's a normal human nature that we waste time before we catch up on things. However, looking at the security of things, now there are these internet-enabled thermostats that we have in the house that can tell when you are in the house. It can control the temperature of your house based on, you know, what the temperature outside is and all of that. Now, that sensor can tell when I'm at home. And talking from a security point of view, if somebody is able to hack into that, then they can tell when I'm at home or not. Okay? But we need to look at the odds, right? I want to make sure that I'm secure, but also, let's turn it around. Look at the case where I wake up in the morning with my wristwatch. My wristwatch is telling me that my heart rate is a little higher. I wake up and my chest is aching. Immediately, I stand up and my wristwatch is giving me more details about what's going on. I think that you're having a hypertension, right? High blood pressure. Quickly take 2 aspirins based on what's in the books that the doctors will say. If you have this so number of heart rate, blah, 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 blah. You take this aspirin, and while you're taking it, the wristwatch has already sent data to your medical provider saying, send help down.
That is if your medical provider is also you know, in that
internet enabled,
space,
you know, in that space, you know. They send details. The doctors will look at these numbers and say, okay, this man needs emergency attention. All right? They rush down to your house. They try to make sure that you're comfortable again. And they look at you and they say, okay, the 2 aspirins that you took earlier actually has saved your life from you having a heart attack. You know, so when you look at things like that, that can actually really save your life, as against, you know, the security part of things, you really still want to, you know, stay with these things and make sure that you're alive. However, on the security side of things, there's never, you know, a stop on how secure we can keep you. There's always research on and ongoing, just like the way you won't stop using internet banking, because the banks will make sure that they keep putting enough money on security to make sure that there's a secure line between your devices and the bank servers when you're doing these transactions. So yes, security is key, but also these are things that can save.
But now that you mentioned the bank servers, let me bring this to you. A friend of mine has this. He's connected. He uses the Apple devices, so he does most of his transactions. He goes to iTunes to buy music, buy videos, and all of that. But suddenly, with this exchange rate thing, he's not able to do that. Usually, he won't go to the bank, but now he's forced to go to the bank to say, "I can't use my card. It's a Naira card which he was able to use before. Now he can't use it again." So he's now forced to go to the bank. But with the Internet of Things, this is supposed to be a lot easier. So what's the problem?
Okay, so. I am an honorable man, and I like telling stories. So just permit me 1 minute, and I would explain the trends and why I think the FSIs, that's the financial service industries, really need to get their game good in the shortest possible time. Now, when banking started, bankers were used to 8 to 5 or 8 to 4. I don't know how it worked back then. And you go to the bank, you would, transact your business, and everybody closes shop for the day and all. Now, when ATMs started coming on board, bankers realized that they had to introduce a new concept, technology concept called availability. Their servers had to be up and running 24 hours because someone could go to the ATM in the middle of the night. And then internet banking came on board, and then they realized that they really needed to do this. Now, why I went back through all that is to emphasize a point. Now, the Internet of Things. Earlier, I gave a simulation, or I gave an example of cars ordering parts for themselves and all that. What that also means is that things will become the new customers. No longer human beings that have emotions, that can understand, it's not working, let me wait for a while, or let me call them, or I'm frustrated, or I'm this and that. Things don't sleep. Things don't tolerate downtime. Things make decisions quickly, without any emotions, without any delay. They choose the best, just like in networking, they choose the best route, shortest distance. Just like a Google Maps to calculate for you the shortest distance to any destination you're going, or the shortest route to any destination. They try this FSI, it's not working. Immediately, in the next split second, they go to the next one, they go to the next one until they find one that's working, and then they transact. Exactly. So FSIs can't afford to keep on doing what, for example, you've said. Now, most of what you talked about, what your friend is going through, all boil down to operational inefficiencies, lacks here and there, staff training and all that we still accommodate and tolerate, because we don't really have a very strong consumer or customer protection stand or outfits here in Nigeria that can fight for us, and
so are you saying that the banks haven't really, the financial institutions rather, haven't really come to terms with the automation that they are promoting? For instance, this guy traveled, some months back. He was able to use his card abroad. He could swipe and do all the things he needed to do. His Naira card, he was able to pay for things and all. But he cannot use it on the iTunes platform to buy his music or to pay for more storage. So what is the difference between being able to use the same card in America to pay for things but cannot use it on iTunes? Is it a question of exchange rate differentials, or a technology thing? Because they told him that he has a restriction. How do you put it? I'm not sure.
Okay, so different banks, we're going into the financial space now. Different banks have different
limits. It still has to do with coding.
Yes, it still has to do with coding. Different banks have different limits placed on different cards.
No, it's not a limit thing. It's not a limit thing.
Yeah, so what I know, because I was also affected by that some time back, when there was a huge difference between the interbank rate and the black market rate, and foreign exchange or foreign currency was a bit difficult even for banks to get. So you would find out that, for example, you could go to a foreign online platform and make a purchase at a particular price, and then when because the banks themselves have to access Forex, they have to access Forex, and they try to get the money to pay, and then they see that they're getting it at a different rate, and the transaction has already gone through. Your goods have already been, goods have already exchanged hands. If it was a digital transaction, that's in a split second, and then the bank can't fulfill. So most of them had to put in a lot of policies. So yeah, at that point, I don't think it was all, coding and all that. So a lot of issues with the economy.
Okay, let me
just quickly add to what he has said. Just to hit the nail on the head.